Hey, welcome back. Today we are roasting. I have some really exciting roasts to do today. This past weekend, we had a really busy weekend. It was our first weekend back at the market from the SCA Coffee Expo in Houston and sold out of everything. A lot of people were itching for me to come back and sell coffee again. And it's just a really exciting time of the year. The expo is always planned around harvest season or just after harvest season has ended in most of Central and South American countries. And so they bring all their samples there. And I was able to meet with a lot of really phenomenal producers there. Some I've already met with before, but also just some new connections that I was able to get some samples from. So really excited to get those in the roaster. That's actually what I'm going to talk about a lot in this video, is just what samples we got. Some of them are going to be familiar for you and others will be brand new, and they're also brand new for me. So we'll see how they go. Over the next couple of months is really where I start to dial in my coffee lineup for the rest of the year and start to receive a lot of those and ensure that we have enough coffee to hold us off for the rest of the year until we start to run out. All kind of up in the air at the moment with prices surging astronomically at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. So we'll start off with a couple of coffees that I'm excited about. Actually, I'm excited about all of these. I just have placed them randomly on this table here, and we'll kind of go through each one. So first one you're very familiar with, CGLE, Cafe Granja La Esperanza. They have I was able to meet with them at the Coffee Expo and pick up some samples of 2025 lots. And really, communicating over email or WhatsApp or Instagram or whatnot, it's all great, but the best way to connect is in person. And that's really where you build that strong connection. So I was able to meet up with them again and get some samples. I was really hoping they would have a La Reina sample, and they did. So as soon as I got back, I threw this into the sample roaster. It's a naturally processed La Reina. So if you've never heard of La Reina, it's I would say, half caffeinated coffee without doing anything to it. It's just the variety. So it naturally has half the amount of caffeine that a traditional variety like a Bourbon or Catura, Catuai, any other variety out there, Geisha, it has half of the caffeine in it. So just imagine, you want to have a great cup of coffee in the afternoon, but you're worried that there's too much caffeine in it. This naturally has half the amount. And also it's not decaffeinated in a way, so they're not extracting all those really great notes. And to be honest, all of the La Reinas I've had previously, not even just from CGLE, but from other producers out there, they've always been really good. A little bit floral, slight sweetness to it, kind of honey texture, and they were able to brew up some samples when I was out there, and it's really good. So I roasted it up myself to get it to my own roast profile that I'm looking for. And I'm excited to try it. I think I have about another 5 days or so until I'll get into this, but excited about that one. Also excited about our 2024 award-winning Pink Bourbon Natural. I was able to get another sample of that this year. Really excited to get this one in again. I'm hoping it has the same characteristics as last year. If so, I'll pull the trigger on it and we'll bring it in-house again. But I mean, it was tough to beat that. That was a really great coffee. That is the most requested coffee that I've had in my lineup. Ever since it's left a few months ago, I just continually get requests for it again. So excited about this one. It's in Potosi. The farm is Potosi. The La Reina is from La Esperanza farm. Some other ones, also I'll start with the familiar ones. We also have a Carmen Geisha Natural. We still have a Carmen. Actually, I'm on my last roast today of our Carmen Natural, and really excited to get this one in. So new 2025 lots. This was harvested December to March of 2025, so December 2024 through March 2025. Excited for that one. A coffee that I'm interested in growing with potentially is someone that I met last year for the first time at the Coffee Expo in Chicago. Their name is Tierra Blanca. They placed 5th place at the Best of Panama competition for their Geisha Washed last year for 2024. And this year they say their lots are even better. So first off, that's exciting. Second, it is really just I I think it's their third harvest that they've had this year. So last year was their second, and I believe their first year harvest was just very little amount of coffee. They started planting their trees in 2017, very small amount of them, and then each year they've kind of planted more and also acquired some more land to plant some different geishas at different elevations. They're also looking at some say non-traditional techniques of processing. So one of the things they were telling me is they're even letting some of the cherries sit on the tree for a little bit longer, what we would typically say are overripe, and these are geishas, by the way. But they're leaving them on there till they're about a dark red and just grabbing all those off and throwing them off to the side and doing a special fermentation just for those, because what's happening is as they're over ripening, usually you'll start to generate some, I'd say, bad tastes or even sour notes to it. And usually those are just kind of throwaways in a way, where you would sell them for a discounted price or whatnot at the farm level. The owner seems to think that there is some good coffee there. There are some unique notes that have never been discovered in these coffees because he's using a different type of processing method. So I was able to try some at the expo. Preface this with saying that the water at the expo is really bad. I think they just give them straight purified water. So most coffees are just lacking. A lot of brewers were adding in Apex drops or some types of minerals into their water to try and extract a little bit more, but it was really difficult. So I was able to try it there. I did get some more unique kind of dark fruit notes to it, so I'm excited to see how that goes. I didn't get a sample of it, but I'm trying some of natural geisha, and I threw in a washed geisha already that I roasted, and I'll see how it goes this year. So I'm excited about Tierra Blanca. They're also in Panama. Carmen and Tierra Blanca are in Panama. You'll see a lot of the ones from Panama are going to be in either Volcan, actually in the Chiriqui region. So Volcan or Paso Ancho or Boquete. Those are really the regions that I've worked with the most there, and some of the most famous producers are located there. So that's basically where all of these are. Another one is from Colombia, and I met this farm. Actually, they reached out to me online on social media, and they just started growing. Actually, their family's been growing for some time, but they just got their own land and started growing geisha varieties a few years ago. And so they're pretty young. The coffee plants are pretty young, and they really are just starting to give it out and they want to get feedback on it. Their name is Finca Faith, and they provided me with a sample, actually quite a few samples of roasted coffee and unroasted. And my experience so far has been you definitely can pick up on the geisha. It's definitely a geisha variety. I don't question that at all. It's very floral, extremely delicate, extremely. Almost to a point where there are times when I'll say, geisha is tea-like and whatnot. You might get little hints of it, but this one was very tea-like. I didn't even think it was coffee. I thought it was a green tea when I was drinking it. So it's very unique in that way. I would roast it a little bit differently myself than how they roasted it, their samples, but this one I'm excited about because I do get to roast this one. It should be very clean, very delicate, nice florals, slight sweetness. That's what I'm really hoping for here. Another one, so I love just buying from single producers, just directly from the farmers when possible, and that's really what I'm trying to get to. But some of the farms are still inaccessible, whether it's language barriers or exporting is difficult, or lots of factors go into it. And we still do have to work with some, what I would call middlemen, or just importers, people that bring them into the States. There's an interesting company called the Coffee People, and they export coffees from Colombia. But what they do is they don't export until you purchase. So they work directly with specific farms looking for high quality coffees, but also some, lower end specialty coffee as well. And I was really intrigued with some of their higher end coffees because these are not known producers. They're unknown. They basically went to Colombia, searched throughout different farms there and really tried to build a connection with these farmers to export some phenomenal coffee out to the States and to many different countries. So this one's called, they call it a King Arthur. It's a geisha honey processed, fermented for an extended period of time. And it already, I cracked it open already, and it already smells really, really sweet. Yeah, it's candy-like. Not the most candy-like I've ever had, but that's really the fermentation process, and it's also a honey process, so it's going to maintain some of those sweeter notes. So excited about their stuff. I got 3 samples from them, a couple of pink bourbons, I believe. Yeah, 2 pink bourbons and a geisha honey. And then I've already roasted quite a few here. We talked about Tierra Blanca. I did already roast their geisha natural as well. I guess it was a natural. They only gave me naturals this year. They have, I think it's 4 farms now, 4 or 5 farms, and all throughout the area that they're in. It's basically just a long mountainside along the Chiriqui region is just some of the prime real estate, I would say, for growing coffee. And so they have a couple of farms in that region, ranging from, I believe their lowest is like 1,300 and their highest is 2,100 or 2,200. And so this is one of their higher ones. It's a geisha natural, roasted it a few days ago, and we'll see how it is in another few days. And then lastly on samples, I have a few more, but these are just ones I'm focusing on here, are from Panama. One of my favorite producers right now, Adara Coffee. Marcus is doing some really great stuff. He got first place in the Geisha Washed Best of Panama competition last year. I'm just about out of his Pacamara from last year, which I'm really excited, which I was really excited for getting last year. I purchased the lot before he submitted it to the Best of Panama competition. It didn't place, but we were hoping that it would do really well, which I thought it was a great coffee. So I roasted up a washed geisha. These are all 2025 lots. He is actually doing harvesting at the moment. He harvested a lot of it early on, first harvest, and then he's doing second harvest right now. And then also a natural geisha, which is fermented for a little bit of a longer time, so extended fermentation. So really excited about these. He said he has a couple more farms that he got recently. I think it was 3 years or so ago. He planted some geishas, and he thinks next year is going to be the first year of those also growing. So just some exciting times in Panama. So we, like I mentioned, had a really busy weekend this last weekend, and I'm completely out of coffee. We have some orders to fill, some subscriptions to fill, and prepare for this next weekend's market. So I'm going to show you just a little bit of roasting today, but I have a busy day ahead, so stay tuned. I forgot to talk about one other coffee that I received right before the expo, and I met up with them at the expo. It's Flying Pumas. They're also in Panama and the same Chiriqui region. This is probably the coffee I'm the most excited about. I've already sampled one of their coffees. It's top notch. It's probably going to be one of the best geishas I've had all year. Yeah, nothing else, a honey-like texture, sweet, floral. Just enough floralness is maintained where it's not too delicate, but it's also not too much body, so it's very light body. So they're doing some great stuff. It's their either second or third harvest year. They planted their trees, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago, and last year was already good, but this year is even better. So I'm hoping to bring in some of their stuff. I threw a couple more samples into the roaster recently, and we'll see how they are. But Flying Pumas is probably going to be one of the top producers this year. And I'm not sure if they enter into the Best of Panama competition this year, but if they do, you will see them at the top. Final roast of our Ethiopia Bukusa. Really great Ethiopian natural coffee from 2024 harvest season. Pretty sad that it's leaving. Our replacement's really good though. The Beccel Kachara, probably butchering that, but it's a really great coffee as well. It actually has very similar notes to this one. This one I got a lot more blueberry notes in it. but the new coffee from, it's the Sidama region. I'd say it's like a mixed berry. When you drink it, as you're drinking it, the berry notes change. In the beginning I got a lot of raspberry, and as it cooled I got blackberry, and then even slight hints of strawberry, so I said mixed berry. It's a great coffee though. But sad this is the last roast. Let's get it in. Look at all that chaff flying off. This is the time period when a lot of it flies off, and it's really cool to look at. You know, I mentioned it in one of my recent videos about coffees that you get so used to roasting in a way where they just become semi-automated for a manual process, like semi-automated. This is one of them. So it's unfortunate when you're done roasting them because they became so easy to roast. Yeah, it's gotten to a point where this was just a very easy coffee to roast now. I couldn't mess it up if I closed my eyes and decided to roast. I don't recommend doing that. But if I did do it, I'm sure I still wouldn't mess it up. I talked about this being a pretty semi-automated roast now, and we're actually flying through this roast. Not too much, but about 20 seconds in front of where we usually are. So we are going to get the heat down a little bit and kind of coast on the heat the rest of the way. Pulling it. Final roast, maybe our best one yet. We ended this at 10 minutes and 25 seconds. We ran first crack for 30 seconds. Great roast. Next up is our other Ethiopian from the Sidama region, Beccel Kachara. Totally butchering that, I know I am. This is why you sort through your coffee after it's been roasted. This is a rock. And although it should not be inside of your coffee beans, they do end up in there because of the way that they're processed at the farm level. So a lot of the times, not much on Ethiopian coffees. I would say I don't find many rocks in Ethiopian coffees. This might be maybe the second time I found one, but because they have raised beds. But a lot of countries, a lot of farms or washing stations, they have kind of tarps on the ground. And for natural processed coffees, they will throw all of the cherries, or the cherries, or depending on their processing method, they'll throw them on the ground onto these tarps and they'll dry. So during the drying phase, they will just continually move them to ensure that it's consistent around the whole cherry and it's dried to a specific percentage. And when you're placing the beans that are after they've been processed and after they've removed all the pulp and the mucilage and all that, and then you're placing them on the ground, these are on cement ground, cement floor, so there are chances that you'll find little rocks in them. So you might have heard stories of people grinding coffee and then suddenly their bird just completely gets destroyed. It's because a rock was in it. So us roasters, especially small roasters like myself, I have to hand go through all of them. So I'm constantly, with my mixer, I'm just spooning out everything to ensure that I don't find any rocks, and this is what's found. There are commercial roasters and even, I would say, medium and true small scale roasters, larger than me. They do actually have sorters that will look for, or destoners that will look for stones like this. Yeah, unfortunate, but I found it. Next coffee going in, once again from Ethiopia, Sidama region, Beccel Kachara. Butchering it for the last time today. So this is our newest coffee offering. Just started offering it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's a naturally processed Ethiopian. Sucker for the natural Ethiopians. Really sweet, really berry forward coffees. Loving this coffee. I'm actually using it for our cold brew at the moment. And it's a great coffee for cold brew. Great. So I would say the roast level on this one is pretty standard for my roast level, especially for the Ethiopian. So I believe we go about 30 seconds into first crack, maybe 25. So it's definitely light, but it keeps a little bit more of that body to it. And I think that body is what is bringing out a nice cold brew. So with my cold brew method, it's kind of a hybrid in a way where we're using some warm temperature, so brewing at the bloom a little bit hot, and then letting it sit in room temperature water for pretty much the remainder of the brewing, so another 16 hours or so. And that's what's extracting those berry notes from it. So it's really nice, really pleasant. All right, pros and cons of this natural Ethiopian coffee. Pros: it's a great naturally processed, berry forward coffee. Very versatile. Pour over, French press, espresso, cold brew, all of it, you name it. It's a great coffee. Cons: only for the roasters. There are so many Quakers in this. You can probably even see it from all the way over there. 3 just right on top. Aside from the Costa Rican coffee that has the most I've ever seen, this one does have a lot, but these are easier to notice. The Costa Rican, the roast level, the roast color is lighter, so it's kind of hard to spot them in a way. This one, since it's a natural process, the beans just naturally look darker, so when there's an underdeveloped bean in here, Quaker, it's very easy to spot. But the only con, that's the only con, is for the roasters, not for you, for me. During the last 2 roasts, we actually ran out of battery on our microphone, so had to cut the video. So didn't show you roasting our anaerobic natural Mandela from Cafe Granja La Esperanza in Colombia. Probably a fan favorite at the moment. It's the one I'm selling the most of online and when I'm at the markets. Actually have quite a few orders to fulfill today just of that coffee. It's a really unique coffee, very, very black plum, sour in the beginning, sweet at the end, changes drastically within a minute of sipping it. So it's a really unique coffee, and even one of my favorites too. I roasted that, I did 2 roasts of it, so roasted about 6 pounds. Now we're gonna throw in our natural geisha from Savage Coffees in Panama. Also one of my favorites. We're getting close to being out of this one. I think we have maybe 2 bags left. They send them in 3-kilo bags. So it's really easy for me actually. Just cut off the top, throw it right in. So we're gonna throw in this one. So while at the expo 2 weekends ago, I actually met with Jamie Savage of Savage Coffees, and we were talking about their lots this year and how great they are. So they still have 4 farms. They have Deborah, Morgan, Iris, and Don Eduardo. And this year I'm waiting on samples from pretty much all of the top lot ones. I'm really looking for a clean washed geisha from them. Those are the ones that are used by Brewers Cup champions, Barista champions, and I really want to get one of those in the lineup. So I have them on order coming in, some samples. But I'm actually pretty interested in their newest farm, which is Don Eduardo. It's I can't remember how old it is, but it's a fairly new farm. They've actually been growing coffee there for quite some time, but it's new in terms of Savage partnership. And I've been hearing that there's some great coffees coming out of there, so I'm waiting on the samples to arrive. But yeah, they have so many different processing methods that they use, whether it's just from traditional natural to carbonic maceration natural, washed, hybrid washed, inoculations, throwing in a bunch of Kachara infused, like so many different ways. I'm really interested to get some of those coffees in, the washed ones especially. So really exciting conversations that I had with Jamie while I was there. Best opportunity to pick the brain of the producers and see what they're thinking of. Just pulled the Savage Anthem Natural Geisha and looks great. It was a total 9 minute exactly, and first crack for 20 seconds. We generate high heat early on. Right as first crack is about to begin, that's when we lower it a little bit. We want to kind of cruise through the 20-25 seconds of first crack. Don't really want bean temperature to rise too much. Loving this roast. Next coffee. Final coffee going in. Panama Pacamara from Adara Coffee. One of my favorites. Let's get it in. All right, we're gonna end it on this coffee. I love ending it on really special coffees. This one is one that we got maybe 6-7 months ago or so, and we've been lucky enough to have a lot of it. We're getting quite low, and once again, it's quite sad when coffee gets low, especially special ones like this. But I'm looking forward to this year's lots. Marcus has been producing, like I said in the beginning of the video, producing some really great coffee. So I'm gonna finish it up here. Lots of stuff to catch up on, lots of orders to fulfill. Got to make it to the post office before they close. So we're gonna cut it here. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff if you enjoyed this video. See you on the next one. Peace.